So we're gonna connect these three columns using the parenting system of OPENTOONZ. So before parenting, using the schematic and parenting, what you're gonna do is a very essential thing, and that's we're gonna change the column name. So we basically have two names to work with. One is the level name, which is the basically the drawings, and which is gonna be stored in the drawing folder of our sandbox or whatever of folder we are using, project folder. And another thing is the column. The columns are containing this level strips, and for this one, let's say, because in schematic we're not gonna see the those level strip, we're gonna only see the columns. So you can use shorter version of names, you can use specific naming conventions given by your production or your own. Okay, and so to where we can get the schematic window, of course from the Windows menu we can get this schematic window, or we can assign a specific room for schematic, maybe somewhere here, I don't know. Okay, in this version it's not assigned yet, so we can just make our own rooms. We can create our own rooms like that, new room, and you can make a room for schematic. So right now what you're gonna do is we're gonna simply, we don't need level strips, so maybe here we don't need cleanup right now, so we're gonna remove this one, unlock, remove this one, and we're gonna connect the schematic one here. Okay, not here actually. How can I take them left? Okay, so so in our schematic view, what you can see is we have these three yellow, which is our vector columns, three yellow columns, and here we are going to see a graphical view of this table view of those columns. These in other software, these are called nodes. Like we know, Nuke is a node-based software. In Maya also, you're gonna have this kind of nodes for character, texturing and simulation and all these things. So we have this kind of table view, this kind of node view here. In OpenToonZ is called schematic, and right now we don't need this one. Okay, so basically what we have is these three. Okay, let me unlink all these things. It's not gonna be like this. Actually, I have done this before in this project, so it's gonna be like this. And we have few navigation system here, like you can scroll wheel, scroll up and down, and you can middle mouse button and drag to move it, or you can use this navigation like fit to screen, or you can rearrange all these things like this. Okay, and also we have the option for see the thumbnails of our drawings. So if you get the thumbnails, you can get a look of the shapes it's containing, but sometime it's gonna be there is gonna be so many columns there, and so that's why naming properly is really important. And we also have, for each and every column, we also have the render on and off option, and the visibility on and off option, and we have the name and the thumbnail, and we are going to see what are the other things later on. So and so to parent some layers, what we have to do, basically we know that this lower arm is gonna be, and one thing that you are gonna see here, this for the example file, the center points are already done here. So if you want to make a rigged character, you have to obviously place the center points correctly, because we know that the wrist joint is gonna be here, and the elbow joint is gonna be here. So you need to do that at first before animating. And after that, what we're going to do, we're going to start parenting those layers. So right now they are all parented. These wires are connected to the table. Table is basically this thing what where we are working on, and this table is actually connected to the camera. We can assign multiple cameras, and we're going to see how to do that later on. Actually, I haven't done multiple camera work in um, OpenTools, but I'm sure that there's going to be very that option also. And let's see how to parent different columns. So what we need to do in order to get a right hierarchy system, we need to connect the lower arm to the upper arm. So when the upper arm moves, the lower arm also moves with it. So how we're going to do that, we have to drag from the blue ball to the red ball, and that's how it's connected to this column. So right now, earlier it was all the columns are independent, like we have, and once we parent these columns, if we select, you can select all the columns from here also. So once we connect these columns, you can, when you move the upper arm, the lower arm also moves with it. When you rotate the upper arm, the lower arm also moves with it. When you even scale the upper arm, the lower arm also scale up and down with it. Okay. And after that, what you need to do is you need to connect this blue ball to the red ball, and now we have a perfect hierarchy system. So let's animate this thing. Let's say in frame 1 it's gonna be something like this. And here it's maybe, I'm sorry, it's maybe like this. Maybe here it's going to be something like this. It's not in loop. We can create a loop if we extend this, and if we copy these 3 columns and we paste it here, so it's gonna be a loop. Okay, so this is basically the parenting system. And let's see the use of bone tool, because by using the bone tool we can also parent these columns, but I will suggest the bone tool is this one, is the bone tool, and I will suggest to not to do that, because when you are in the build splitter mode, you can actually connect these different columns, like you have to just drag one column to another one thing, and that is really messed up thing. When you are going to work with lot of column, you are going to make mistakes. So it's always a better idea to better thing to do if you parent those things in schematic. And but by using the bone tool, it will be very easy to animate, uh, because right now you have to only have to middle click, sorry, single left click on a column, and it's going to be automatically selected. So bone tool is very easy to manipulate. Okay. And we also have here the global key option. So right now only maybe only if you see the schematic, if you see the function editor, though we have actually created global keys here, but sorry, it was not. Though we have created global keys here, if we, because at the first we have started with a global key, so that's why it continued like that. And if we haven't using global key, we can turn on global key, or show only active skeleton, means other things are not going to show in this thing. and we can use those options. And after that we have the inverse kinematic option, which is basically the IK. And IK system here is kind of weird, it's not developed yet so far. So IK is basically you have to select a center point at first, and then you can let's create the IK here. And I don't exactly, okay, yes, so you can actually use this thing like that. I mean, like a leg or that kind of thing is uh, create some kind of constraint system, okay, to move it organically, but it's not that developed yet, so you cannot do too much of a complex thing out of it by using it. So this is basically the bone tool. There is another very useful use of bone tool. Let's see a example maybe. Let's say this one. So this is a rigged character, and here you can see all the different things are actually, you can just select this thing and move it like this. I and by using the bone tool, what you can do actually, you can actually when your column contains different drawings of a particular shape or particular thing, it gives you the name, and if you hover over the name, you can see you can actually click them and drag and change different drawings, okay. Like if you click here and you are getting the names, you can actually change things like that. So this bone tool is basically is very useful. Okay, it's just changing the drawings, and we can also move it like this. Okay, let's go to our previous that thing, and let's get a new scene. And let's work on a different example. So in our X sheet we have few options. Let's open that one. In our X sheet we have we have few options to create peg bars, or to create new camera, or to create motion bar. This is the thing we're gonna see today. And we have another option called switch input and output that gives us some input and output points. This is a little bit advanced thing, and we are gonna come to this thing later. And also here we have a toggle FX stage, schematic stage, and here we are gonna have the, when you are gonna use the compositing features of OpenTools, we are gonna see what we can do here. And this is basically the hierarchy system. So we have this toggle option. Okay, let's create a peg bar here, and peg bar is basically a null column in digital animation. And peg bar, you have nothing to render in peg bar, it's the invisible column. But the usefulness of peg bar is, you can, let's say you need a master layer to animate this whole thing, then you can use this peg bar. You can again do the ball to right ball, and if you select this peg bar, and you can actually move this whole the entire thing. So if you need this kind of a option to move to animate the whole character or any kind of thing, then you can use the peg bar. You can always choose different columns and features you have in your scene, like peg bar, like table, like camera, and you can select things from here. You can move it, okay. And I would say there is a better alternative of using peg bars in OpenTools, because there is some limitations of peg bar, which is when you create some keyframes, you can see those in the X sheet, right? Here we have the keyframes, but when you, and these are very easy to manipulate, right? But when you create a peg bar doesn't appear in our X sheet. So it is very hard to, sometimes it's get really complicated to work with peg bars, because either you have to open the X sheet sorry, the schematic, or you have to open the function editor, right? Here you can see the peg bar. So I will say that rather than creating a peg bar, create a null layer, a empty layer. Okay, create a empty layer and give it some exposure, and you can parent this entire thing. Let's go to schematic, and you can actually parent this entire thing rather than using this peg bar. You can actually parent with this column, and now you can actually make any change, and you're gonna see that in our peg bar. So as we don't see peg bar in our X sheet, it will be a right thing to do, create an empty column, and the result are going to be basically same because this layer is already empty. And let's see another example of using parenting solar system. So we have a little solar system thing here. We have a sun, earth and moon, and a satellite of moon. So let's, if we need to animate this thing at first, huh? सन ओके हाँ, अगर सन राइट साइज में करना होता तो यहाँ पे अर्थ नहीं दिखता या फिर मून नहीं दिखता anyway, so obviously to animate this kind of, in this kind of complex animation without using the parenting system, it will be very hard to animate. Let's say we need to rotate uh, the satellite around the moon, and the moon is going to be rotating around the earth, and the earth is going to be rotating around the sun. So without the parenting system, you can imagine how hard it will be. So that's why, like, the first thing you have to do is you have to select each and every column and make their center in the right position. And after that, what we have to do is we have to go to the rotation tool, and let's create a keyframe, and maybe in frame 12 what we're gonna do is we're gonna put here the number 359, because 356 is similar position of 0, 360 is the similar position of 0. So we have a complete rotation of our satellite. Okay, so we can this is the loop button. I don't know whether I have forgot to tell you the last day. So this is basically the loop button. If we turn it on, and you can see it's gonna loop again and again. One mistake I might have made, I think it's not a linear animation. It should be a linear animation. So if we go there, oh, it's linear, and let's check it out. Yes, it should be a linear animation. It cannot be ease in and ease out because the speed needs to be spontaneous. But I think it's stopping because of it's just a playing error or that kind of thing. It should not stop like that, right? Yes. So this 1 frame and 13, they are going to be same, right? Okay, after that this moon should be okay. Let's parent at first. So okay, I have already done this thing on the 13 batch class. So the parenting thing is already done here. You can see the satellite is parented to the moon, moon parented to the earth, and earth to the sun. So now if we maybe 12, so let's calculate 12 into maybe 12 into 4 for 48, right? 12 into 4 48. So let's have the calculator. No, I know. ओके, क्या गड़बड़ चल रहा है इसमें? सो लेट्स से कि 12 इंटू 4, सो यहाँ पे एक की फ्रेम क्रिएट करते हैं, एंड देन इन 48th फ्रेम 48 frame. What you're gonna have is another 359. So, and let's turn on the loop. So what we have now is something like this. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing, but can you tell me what is 48 into 4 from your computer? You can, if you can turn on the calculator. Let's create a keyframe here. $192. So let's go to 192, 190, 190. Oh, क्या सोच क्या रहा हूँ मैं? Okay, 192, and here I'm gonna do 250, 359. हाँ, sorry, শুনতে পাচ্ছি না। এতটাই ঘুরবে মানে? हाँ, खुद भी रोटेट करता है। Okay, so that we are coming to that thing. Ruchana, are you asking that same thing? क्या बोल रहे हो तुम? No, she's saying something else. I have, at first what you have to do, you have to place the center in right position. So when I am selecting this earth, the center is on the moon. বুঝতে পারছো? Okay. So right now what you're gonna see is something like this. Okay, something like this. हाँ, कैलकुलेट करके बस मैं एक सबको सिमिलर एक सेम रेशियो में डाल रहा हूँ. इट कैन बी, आई मीन अगर ये नहीं करता तो भी चलता, डिफरेंस यही होता, तो फिर ये लूप में नहीं होता. अभी क्या होगा देखो, अगर मैं ये 98 192 हुआ ना, तो लेट्स से कि ये 190, ये देखो 193 फ्रेम में ये फास्ट पोजीशन में आ जाता है. तो यहाँ पे अगर मैं स्टॉप मोशन डाल दूँ, देन इफ वी प्ले इट अगेन, तो ये कंटिन्यूअस लूप में रहेगा. दैट्स वाई मैं वो कैलकुलेशन मेंटेन किया. हाँ हाँ, 12 चलाया, तो मैंने 4 टाइम इंक्रीज किया सबको. दैट्स ऑल. मून के लिए 48, अर्थ के लिए 192, because in 193 it's gonna be the exact the start position. So just to create the loop I have maintained that ratio. Okay, and the one nice thing here is if you turn on the this yeah, you can even see the rotation of the satellite also. Like it's not visible that much. Oh, you have to select the satellite. So if you see the satellite, so maybe I have to no, I have to, yes, no, we can वो करना पड़ेगा, like इसका अमाउंट बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. ऑनियन स्किन का ट्रांसपेरेंसी में भी 10 and apply, and let's select everything. वही, वो ऐसा नहीं होगा, जो वाला सिलेक्ट करूँगा वही काम करेगा. हाँ, ये वाला सिलेक्ट करने से तीनों दिखा रहा है, दो एक साथ दिखा रहा है, तीनों नहीं दिखा रहा है. एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो गो. हाँ, तो ये बहुत स्लो कर देता है. अगर प्ले करूँगा ना इतना सारा फ्रेम एक साथ, बहुत स्लो कर देगा. हाँ, रेड है प्रीवियस वाला. सो अगर ये थोड़ा डेंस होता तो इसका पथ हमें पता चलता, तो कैसे एक्चुअली हम लोग मून कैसे रोटेट करता है. जब फर्स्ट टाइम शायद क्या था उसका नाम, कोपर्निकस। तुम किसका नाम बोला है? शरद। नहीं नहीं नहीं। Oh God, completely different pace. Get it, get it. जब कोपर्निकस ने फर्स्ट टाइम ऐसा मूवमेंट देखा था, कि ऐसे हमारा अर्थ वगैरह ऐसे मूव करता है, जाता है, फिर राउंड घूम के फिर आता है, जैसे कि ये सैटेलाइट का दिख रहा है, तो उसने ये बोला था कि एक्चुअली अर्थ इज नॉट इन द सेंटर, sun is in the center, so that's why this kind of movement happens. Galileo. Nah, Socrates like 2000 years ago. The Galileo Galilei. Yeah, sure. उसका पीछे लगना मत करो। तेरा प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Anyway, तो चलो, before giving you an example, okay, another very interesting thing is the motion path. So we can live with this parenting thing, right? You have get it. Huh? This is basically एकदम basic parenting. Oh, another thing that he was asking, rotation. So how can I add its own rotation, right? So to do that, what we have to do, use the peg bar or any kind of empty column. So let's turn off this unnecessary thing, and let's say this arts needs to, arts have his own, I don't know what is it called, this own rotation on his own axis. So how can we add that? I mean, how can we animate in multiple layers? So let's go to the schematic, and maybe what I'm gonna do is, okay, let's create an empty column, that will be much better. So let's create a empty column, and we're gonna give it the same exposure, and we're gonna move it here maybe, and we're gonna copy this entire animation. Okay, we can just, we need to do that. We can just select, we can make a keyframe here, at the end we can make it 359, and we can delete it from here. And what we can do, we can actually change the center. Where is the earth? Okay, I turned it off. Okay, we can change the center to here in the middle of the earth. Unfortunately, we don't have a snapping option or that kind of option to find a object center. It would have been very helpful and time saving for us, and to use it. How? कैसे? Like, yeah, those guidelines, but वो भी, how do we know that that is the perfect center? I mean, that will be based on an assumption. Anyway, so anyway, we don't need a perfect thing. So let's create a rotation animation here. So let's create a keyframe at first, and what would be the speed? Maybe in frame 24 it will gonna rotate. So I'm gonna do the same thing for the rotation 359. So it will gonna rotate on its own axis. Okay, so you can see the acceleration happening here for the moon, because it's parented to the, I mean, I'm breaking the way I was working, it's parented to the moon also. So when I'm rotating, the art is also forcing the moon to rotate. So we can actually delete the moon's animation also, right? So I'm telling that we need to separate So if I now, let's see, if I now just delete the animation of the moon, if I and hit play, so the moon is gonna automatically rotate, and I just have to do the looping thing again. Moon is gonna automatically rotate around the earth because it's parented. And the reason why I have created another this thing, another column, and added the earth movement to that column, because in earth we need this particular column, we need two type of animation, or one is which is on its own axis, and the second one which is going to be around the sun. So to do that, what I am gonna do, I am going to simply parent this. छोरो कौन कर रहा है ये? Someone was using mouse or elbow से move. चलो चलो चलो. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna parent this earth to the what it is, to the empty column, and we can parent this thing here, or yes, we have to parent this thing here. Okay, and now what is going to happen is, you can see, have you get it? Because now this empty column have that movement of the earth, like in 192 I have done this this thing, 365, that movement, sorry, 360 movement. So right, that's how we can add multiple, layer of animation. In this column we have one animation, and in this column there is another animation which is driving this this column. And so no, no, not any, we don't need any drawing. We have created the blank column just as a peg bar or a null layer. Okay. On what we can do is, we can actually, to make it a little bit interesting, we can actually give a minus direction. So now हाँ, क्योंकि अभी ये उसका parented है. We can change that also by doing the same thing with the moon. Okay, so this is basically the parenting, and one last thing we are left with, and that is, let's create a new scene, and let's create I don't know, create any shape, circle. Last time what some of us doing, like Yanchen was doing, a ball was falling from a particular ground and up and down particular in a shape. Okay, so she needed to make a perfect path for that ball, and which was very hard to do. And so we have a very easier way to do it here in digitally. In other softwares, so then OpenTOONZ also we have this feature, and it's called motion path. Let me connect the, to do that I need the pen tab. अरे कनेक्ट ही नहीं हो रहा है. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the schematic again, and you can see there's nothing. Why? Okay. So we're gonna create this thing, motion path. So if we create a motion path and select that motion path, now actually what we have to do is we have to select the parent thing first, like we are gonna select the table and create a motion path, and then we are gonna connect the motion path with this thing. Okay, no, that's the same thing. We have to create the motion path, and once we create the motion path, what we can do, we can go to this brush tool and create a line, a path. Okay, let's say, and okay, let's hit no because I want to replace this shape. let's delete this shape and use a rectangle. Okay, now what you are gonna do, now we are gonna select the path, and you can see all you have to do is select this path in schematic motion path, and you have to create a path, and at the end it's gonna ask you, are you sure? Yes, I am now. And what is going to happen is, let's say one thing that I have forgot to do, then let's see what happened. It's gonna follow that this, okay, I haven't added any frames, so I have to add some frames, and after that what is going to, yeah, I'm coming to that. Okay, so if we select our edit tool, and if we move, let's go to the position, and if we move this thing, you can see that we have another area here to give a value of. So now we can actually, if we move this thing, it's always snapping this path. Okay, so that means we can actually make a animation here. Let's create a global keyframe, and here at the end what we can do is we can actually make it like 100. So now what is going to happen is we are gonna have a perfect path, and the things that we can do with this path is the, okay, now the first thing we are noticing is this shape is not following the path, and the mistake happens because of I haven't assigned the center of the that I forgot actually of this particular shape at the center of the object. So so it's always gonna use the center of our object, this motion path. And now we can actually, so before creating that, now we can actually fix that with a null object or with a peg bar, but let's do it again. Okay, and otherwise it's gonna be messy. So let's create it again, and go to schematic, and create the center, or we can make the shape in the center of our column. ये पाथ अगर तुम ये इसको सिलेक्ट करोगे, ठीक है, अभी तो क्रिएट नहीं किया है हमने. ओके, आया कैसे क्रिएट किया सके वो आया, मतलब मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि हाँ 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 हाँ. गुड वन. ओके, तो अभी हम क्या कर सकते हैं कि अभी हम एक, ओके, क्या हुआ, किसने किया ये? किसी ने हाथ उसके साथ ऊपर से हिला रहा है. एनीवे, तो ओके, सो नाउ वी हैव दैट. ओके, फिर से ये सेंटर पोजीशन का गड़बड़, रुको मैं थोड़ा देखने दो. एक तो ये सेंटर को मूव कर सकते हो, नहीं पोजीशन ओनली इसके ऊपर स्नैपिंग ही होगा. तो वो कैरेक्टर को हमें सेंटर, देखो इसका तो एक बहुत आसान फिक्स है, लाइक हम एक पेग बार क्रिएट करें, देन वी कैन डू दैट. All you have to do is you have to create this shape exactly in the middle of our canvas. Or what else can we do is we can create a peg bar, and we can actually parent this thing with this peg bar. And no, what we can do is we can actually parent the path with the peg bar. Then this Control Z, we can parent it with this thing, and we can disconnect this thing, and this thing is going to be parented with the peg bar. Then the same thing, then we can select this and we can move this. The only problem here is we are not gonna see both of the things at a time. But what we have to do is we have to create this thing exactly at the center of the for canvas, then it's not gonna happen like this. So let's select this shape, let's select this thing, and now we can animate this thing like that. Now why I have created this shape, to give you a example, right? Okay, I have created a keyframe and here it will be 100, and if we now play it back, then it's gonna, okay, it didn't happen here, it's gonna be 0. So there is one more extra feature here, that we can see that this thing is following the path, but it's not in a correct orientation, right? It's not facing the path. So for that we can again turn on the schematic, and we have an option here. If we zoom in, we don't need this thing anymore. If we zoom in, then we have something here. I don't know what it is now, but if you do that, then what is going to happen is, not this thing, this thing, yes, what is going to happen is gonna always face the path. And also by using this edit, what is it called, edit point is control point editor tool, we can actually edit this path. So let's select this path, and we can actually add keyframes, delete keyframes, okay, delete keyframes or add keyframes, make it smoother or whatever we need, we can do that. Yes, obviously. And to do that, what we have to do, the value is here, right? So we have to go to this function editor. What happened to the keyframe? Okay, it is there somewhere. Anyway, we have to go to the function editor, and in function editor, this is the keyframe. This is the thing, and we have to go to the here, and we can add is in, is it, is out, like this. So for each and every parameter we have that is in, is out, all this kind of thing. Okay. So that's a different issue. Now whatever your value you are changing here, that can be used in different interpretations. Hmm. Yeah, you can do that, but you have to go to that the same way. You have to use the graph editor. सर्कल से बनाने से इसका जो ओरिएंटेशन हुआ ना पथ के साथ, वो दिखता नहीं। ये लंबा है, तो इसलिए ये ओरिएंटेशन हमें समझ में आ रहा है। तो अगर ये सर्कल होता तो ये कोई फेस करने का कोई इशू ही नहीं रहता ना, विदाउट। हाँ, सर्कल में तो होगा, फिर भी वो नोटिसेबल नहीं होगा ना। सर्कल में तो ऐसा कोई, हाँ हाँ, दैट्स, इसीलिए मैंने एक ऐसा शेप किया जिसमें वो दिखे कि कौन सी डायरेक्शन में वो देख रहा है, दैट्स ऑल। हाँ, वो सही जगह पे नहीं है, ये बोल रहे हो? नहीं, अरे क्लियरली बोलो ना, क्या है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा। हाँ, एग्जैक्ट जगह पे होना चाहिए। लाइक मैं एक दूसरा क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ, चलो अगर मैं एक शेप क्रिएट करता हूँ, कौन पकड़ा हुआ है ये सब, देखो ये फील्ड गाइड ऑन कर देता हूँ, करके एकदम बीच में से एक शेप क्रिएट करता हूँ। क्या करने से होता है बीच में से, हाँ, ये ऑल्ट पकड़ने से। सो अगर ऐसे एक शेप क्रिएट करता हूँ, ये भी पूरा बीच में नहीं है, चलो ये है, तो क्या होगा, अभी इसको मैं अगर रिप्लेस करूँगा इसके साथ, इसके साथ, अभी क्या होगा कि ये वाला ऑफ कर देता हूँ मैं। अभी देखो ये एकदम राइट प्लेस में रहेगा हमेशा। ओके, इसका कुछ हमने ऐड नहीं किया। तो ये एक्चुअली अगर हमने वो सिलेक्ट किया, तो बार बार क्लोज कर रहा हूँ मैं इसको, तो अगर मोशन पर सिलेक्ट किया तो तुम देखो कि ये एकदम सेंटर में रहेगा हमेशा। ओके, तो ये था आज के लिए, ठीक है। বলো কিটা ইজ ইজ আউট যে ভ্যালুই তোমার তৈরি হোক না কেন সেটা অবশ্যই তোমাকে ফাংশন এডিটরে দেখাবে। हाँ, तो ये हमेशा ये फंक्शन एडिटर में क्रिएट होगा ही। देखो ये एक्चुअली इसका नॉर्थ साउथ वैल्यू कुछ चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, तो मैंने ये गलती से ये की फ्रेम क्रिएट किया, इसको कोई ज़रूरत नहीं था, क्योंकि ये चेंज हो रहा है दूसरे जगह में, ये चेंज हो रहा है ये वैल्यू में, पोजीशन इसका जो एक्स्ट्रा पोजीशन वैल्यू ऐड हुआ है इसमें, तो ये रहा है यहाँ पे। तो ये वाला सिलेक्ट करो तुम। फंक्शन एडिटर सिलेक्ट करने से क्या क्या सिलेक्ट है दिखेगा, ये कॉलम वगैरह ये सब हमें चाहिए नहीं। ओनली हमें जो चाहिए था वो था ये पेग बार, पेग वन, ठीक है। इसका पेग वन के अंदर ये पोजीशन पथ ये आ गया। क्यों आ गया? क्योंकि ये पथ हमने कनेक्ट किया था पेग वन के साथ, ठीक है। देन वी हैव दिस position path in peg 1, and after that we have to click on this function editor, then we get this thing, okay। ফাংশন এডিটরে গিয়ে যা ইচ্ছা করা যা রকম আছে করতে পারি আমরা, ठीक है। तो चलो चलो, नहीं नहीं नहीं, प्रैक्टिस करो।